Hello there! You're listening to the Pinoy MCUUUU, a bunk collective Filipino podcast where I get to talk about everything and anything Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm your host, Jim. Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Oh my god, I know that in the last episode I did talk about Captain America 4 Brave New World. Pero I omitted this one part of the plot that I did not really go over because I really wanted to save it for this episode. Because kung mapapansin nyo naman dun sa ending ng last episode, I sound super excited. And honestly, you guys, oh my god, when I walked out of the theater after Brave New World, honestly, this part of the movie really got me on a chokehold because, oh my god, Adamantium. Finally, I am doing an episode on this and I'm so ready to expand on this and everything. I have a whole script draft ready for this specific topic, but of course with the recent, chair announcement, we all know what that is. I had to do major edits and whatnot on this draft, but it's okay. Anyway, you guys, oh my god, Adamantium in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, oh my god, dude, I swear, I gasped so loud in the theater, that part in the movie na nagrepresent si Ross, yung findings nila on Celestial Island. If you guys remember, Celestial Island is that thing that the Eternals stopped in their movie. So, yeah, it's a space monster being that is planted deep into Earth's core. And then, yeah, it's now an island somewhere I think it was in the Indian Ocean. I don't know, but it's somewhere there, it's somewhere there. And then on Celestial Island, they found a metal that can rival Wakanda's vibranium. And this metal is called Adamantium! Oh my god! I swear, sobrang lakas ng gasp ko in the movie theater. I feel at the moment, feeling ko, it was the people in the movie. But then when I think about it, damn, maybe it was just me being loud in the theater. I am so sorry. But I do know that some moviegoers also did gasps. So I'm these people know what's up. But yeah, do you guys even know what that means in the MCU? I know we've seen Adamantium. I remember in Deadpool and Wolverine, but that was in a TVA. So that was outside of what we know of in the MCU, if you know what I mean, if you know what I'm, talking about. Also in the fact that, Japan is closely eyeing Adamantium 2 in the movie. I'm this whole Adamantium discourse in the MCU points to only one thing. This only points to one person, one man, and that man is Logan, the Wolverine. My mind is racing every time I remember that scene. Every time I remember that Adamantium is formally introduced into the greater MCU. Again, hear me out. Do you guys even know what that means? Okay, Marvel Studios is officially, I would like to say it's official, they're officially setting up mutants and X-Men in the MCU. I've talked about mutants before in the past. In past episodes, I talked about Kamala and more. Remember guys, I think it was a word mutation or mutant. They also played the X-Men team. So, ayun, mga mention and mga play. It was in Miss Marvel and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But etong February lang talaga when Captain America 4 came out. And, so Adamantium, that's when I truly went nuts talaga. Because, again, mutants in the MCU. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Sobrang excited ko talaga with this thought. So, paulit-ulit ako. But yeah, so aside from Kamala and Namor and the mutant mentions, we've seen mutants before too in the Multiverse of Madness, the Marvels, and of course, Deadpool and Wolverine. I remember that I even hoped that maybe the multiverse and Deadpool will find a way to bring actual mutants and the X-Men into the main timeline, into the sacred timeline of the MCU. And yeah, sure, again, yes, yung recent chair announcement also confirmed the mutants, yung mga OG mutants na kilala natin, are coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, so quick segue, quick side note lang here. There are countless discourses, threads, posts, arguments about the numbering system of the sacred MCU timeline. it's Earth 616. No, it's this. It's Earth 1999999. So many nines. I don't even know how many nines is on there. But for the sake of talking about this damn MCU Earth, in my podcast, I will be referring to it as the sacred timeline or the main timeline. Okay, anyway, back to the topic. So, Multiverse of Madness, yes, Strange and America Chavez went to different universes, yes. They went to a universe where mutants exist because we saw Charles Xavier in his iconic yellow chair. Charles is part of the Illuminati, yep, as in Charles, Professor X, and yung actor na nandito, si Patrick Stewart, yes, mutant, yes. But then again, that's a different universe. That's not the main sacred timeline. Okay, let's go to the Marvels. We saw the end credit scene wherein, si Monica went to a neighboring universe, which happens to have mutants and X-Men, and Kelsey Grammer's Beast from X-Men The Last Stand, who did a cameo in that scene. Again, Beast is from a neighboring universe. Again, not in a main sacred timeline. Then we have Deadpool and Wolverine, which, of course, majority niyan took place in the Void and the TVA Outpost and also in Wade's universe. The only time we saw Deadpool in the quote-unquote sacred main timeline was when he had that interview with Happy Hogan to join the Avengers. Again, if anything, Deadpool just did a quick cameo, aka the interview, in the main sacred timeline. So again, the closest thing that we have to a mutant mutant or X-Men in the sacred timeline was, Deadpool interviewing. Again, there's also, a quick side note here, there's also a discourse on whether Deadpool is a mutant or non-mutant, but he is so closely related to X-Men, so I'm just kind of I'm talking about him here in this episode. Okay, so now, you might be wondering, pero yung Doomsday Cast announcement a quarter of those names are X-Men and mutants. Mutants are coming to the MCU na talaga, for real this time. Yes, that is correct. X-Men are coming to the MCU and to the bigger MCU pa. Kasi nga naman, Avengers movie pa yon, di ba? Okay, quick side note here again. Yung sa end credit scene ng Brave New World, Stearns was warning Sam about the others. Are you ready when the others come? Or something like that. I don't know. I forgot the line. But the word that stuck with me is the way that Stearns said others. The way he said it, yung others, meron siyang tono na discrimination, to be honest. And it made me think of mutants. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, guys. Pero kasi, mutant discrimination is real in the Marvel Universe. So parang, when Stearns said others, maybe he was referring to mutants. Anyway, again, back to X-Men and mutants in the Doomsday announcement. Again, yung mga pangalan na ba yun? Sure ba tayo? Are we sure that they're gonna be from the main sacred timeline or which is wished? Okay, again, please hear me out, guys. If you're listening to this podcast, thank you guys so much for hearing me out. But eto, when I watched Captain America Brave New World, ito yung thinking ko at that time. Yes, Adamantium, Marvel Studios are planting the seeds. Actually, Adamantium nga, bulb plant na ito eh. So, they're planting the seeds for the next Wolverine. Yes, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. He will play the character until he's 90, blah, 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 blah. But, let's be real. We just saw the backstory to the backstory. AKA yung story ng Adamantium. We saw where it came from. We saw how nations, especially Japan, was really fighting for a piece of Adamantium. And we all know yung history ni Logan with Japan. So, all of these point to the possibility that Marvel Studios will re-announce Wolverine, listen, with a new actor. Again, I have a feeling, my theory is that all of these is pointing to a possibility that Marvel Studios will reintroduce Wolverine with a new actor. This time, a Wolverine that comes from the sacred timeline. Again, this time, a mutant Wolverine that comes from the sacred timeline of the MCU. Maybe Hugh Jackman is passing the mantle to a new actor soon. Pusahan tayo, guys. Baka in 5 years, meron na tayong bagong Wolverine. Oh my God. Babalikan ko tong episode na to kung tama ako. Tapos mali pala ako. Pero anyway, now, let's go over the business side of things. Lalo na when they did the Doomsday Cast announcement for almost like, dude, it was a 6-hour live. When was it? It was at the end of March. I think it was like sometime last week of March. So bale last month lang. Grabe. I was on that live stream for 6 hours straight. And to be honest, for a moment, I felt like the world stopped and there was worldwide peace. Like, dude, everyone was so hyped. Everyone's like patiently, well, we were losing our minds, but like, we were right there waiting for each name on that chair. It was amazing. I talked to a lot of you guys in my DMs. It was amazing. Anyway, so yeah, we know that a quarter of those names announced are X-Men and Mutants. And to be honest, at that time, nung nagla-live, yes, hyped ako, pero medyo nagulat din ako. Kasi parang ang aga. Medyo naagahan ako ha. At that moment, parang naisip ko, hala, wait lang. Parang medyo maaga na pinapakita nila agad lahat yung majority ng X-Men to the greater MCU agad-agad. Pero after a few days, it kind of started making sense to me. And to be honest, it did. It does make sense. It does make sense. Kasi we all know that Disney recently bought or like acquired Fox, 21st Century Fox, a few years ago. Actually, according to Google, yung acquisition was in 2019. So this acquisition is the reason why we have X-Men 97, the TV series, Deadpool and Wolverine, and the mutant cameos in Multiverse of Madness and the Marvels. I would even argue that the times Kamala and Namor said mutant or mutation is also because of this acquisition too. The reason we have Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness and yung upcoming Fantastic Four First Steps in July is also because of this acquisition too. Again, acquisitions are investments, and Disney and Marvel are just banking on their investments. That's why we have mutants in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday film. It makes sense. It actually starts to make sense to me. Now, how can Marvel Studios maximize, ask yourself, how can Marvel Studios maximize yung profits nila with the recent acquisition? These characters with great history, aka yung Fox X-Men films, how can we gain profit from them? So, boogs, easy na yan. Let's put these iconic mutants and X-Men in our most iconic film, an Avengers film. See? It makes sense. But reminder, these are characters with history. Again, the Fox X-Men films history. That means the X-Men we are going to see in Avengers Doomsday are not from the sacred main timeline. These are from our neighboring universe, which is yung Fox X-Men films. Marvel Studios cannot just use Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier and then tell audiences, oh yeah, this Professor X is from our sacred main timeline. Hehe. Girl, no. I would personally riot. I would personally lose my mind. I would fight Kevin Feige. Kevin, if you're listening, I will fight you. It doesn't work that way, because whenever audiences see Patrick Stewart, we see him as Charles from the X-Men movies made by 21st Century Fox. Are you guys catching my drift? Diba? Also, oh my god, this episode is gonna be so funny once Doomsday comes out and mali pala. And mali pala ako. Oh my god. But then again, that's the beauty of theorizing the MCU. Minsan tama ka, minsan mali ka. Okay, anyway, speaking of Patrick Stewart and the rest of the X-Men and Doomsday cast, it's pretty understandable that Marvel Studios are also racing against time here. I would personally say, although I do love them, I really do love them, but I think after Doomsday, these actors, we have to be honest, these actors are aging. And they are kind of aging out of the characters that they are playing. So grabe, parang halos 20 years, 25 years ng career nila, they are playing these characters. So, ayun, pero medyo nagigets din naman. They probably don't wanna, you know what I mean, you guys. They're probably aging out too. Lalo na with franchise this big, they wanna keep an actor for, 20 more years or 30 more years. Okay. Anyway, also, Marvel Studios is riding the hype we have with mutants. If they drag this on any longer, audiences might not, parang pag pinaghintay pa nila tayo ng mas matagal sa next appearance of mutants, audiences like us might not be engaged anymore with mutant stories. So, before Deadpool and Wolverine, yung last X-Men mutant movie was You know, guys, I had to Google this. It was New Mutants in 2020. Like, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Did anyone even watch this movie? Like, damn, it was kind of bad. I'm not even gonna lie. I saw that movie, like, when I did my Fox X-Men, like, binge watching, like, 2 years ago. Or, like, last year. Yeah. It was kind of bad. But I did like the characters and the actors that play them. Anyway, I've also heard Dark Phoenix in 2019 that also came out. I'm sure you guys saw that movie and followed the hype with it too. But then I was like a hardcore Marvel Studios girl, especially when Endgame came out 2019. So like, it kind of dampened the hype for me, for the general public, the way that I see it at the time. I didn't even know there was an X-Men movie. I was just Endgame. Anyway, but again, with the renewed interest in mutants because of, mutant mentions, X-Men cameos, the X-Men TV series, and of course, Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel Studios cannot drag this any longer. They're giving us more X-Men mutants as soon as possible, as soon as 2026, as soon as, Avengers Doomsday. Now, back to Adamantium and the Sacred Timeline. I like calling it, as I said earlier, I really like calling it the backstory to the backstory. Pero yeah, I do think my natural story progression kasi with Adamantium. Like, we saw where it came from and how it affected nations in the globe. Next plot niyan with Adamantium is naturally going to be Weapon X, aka Logan, aka Wolverine. And then after that, the next plot is Logan being introduced to the X-Men and mutants and the rest of mutanthood. That's how I see it. I see that as a natural progression of this plot device, I guess. I don't know. Basta, Adamantium, this is how I see it. And also because, Wolverine is once again the perfect point of view, POV, to show us mutants and X-Men. If you guys binge watch or just grew up watching the X-Men films, the first movie literally follows Logan and how he came across a young mutant and how they were welcomed into the Xavier Institute. Also, parang every X-Men movie, nandun talaga si Logan. Nandun talaga si Wolverine. Kaya tama din talaga yung Deadpool and Wolverine for calling Logan an anchor being. He literally is the anchor for most of the X-Men movies made by Fox. Parang tanda ko lang. Hindi ko kasi sinusundan yung X-Men nung bata ko ng religiously. Pero since sikat na palabas, pinapanood pa rin ng pamilya namin. And honestly, when I look back at it, parang nasesemento lang siya sa utak ko na, okay, X-Men to kasi nandiyan si Wolverine. Pero yeah, that's how I see it when I try to remember, X-Men films when I was a kid. But yeah, so there's this natural story progression from Adamantium that will lead us to Logan, to mutants, and to the X-Men. And of course, maybe a new actor. Again, a new actor to play Logan. And then siguro, new actors then to play the rest of the X-Men and mutants. This is honestly the perfect opportunity for Marvel Studios to tell X-Men and mutant stories their own way naman this time. So bale, hindi na siya Fox X-Men. It's gonna be MCU X-Men, Marvel Studios. So maybe in Avengers Doomsday and also siguro in Secret Wars na din, we will see a proper send-off to the iconic actors that played our favorite X-Men and mutants. So that means Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier and the other actors too. Dude, I forgot Magneto's name. I did not put it down on my script. This is embarrassing. Yeah. Damn. Anyway, and then maybe, after Doomsday, after Secret Wars, after the whole multiverse saga, maybe we will be introduced to the new saga in Marvel Studios. That this time, a saga that involves mutants naman. Maybe it's gonna be called Mutant Saga or maybe Mutant Legacy Saga. I don't know, but I see that again as a natural progression after Multiverse Saga. But yeah, let's see where this will take us. But Adamantium in the main timeline, in the sacred timeline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, dude, count me in as someone who will be following this story, this theory. My God, I'm so excited. But anyway, that's it for this episode. And yeah, maybe I'll talk about the doomsday announcement next in the next episode. I don't know, let's find out. That's all. If you guys have any thoughts on this like theory of mine, please feel free to DM me as usual and we're gonna talk story on this. Dude, we can theorize, bounce ideas off of each other, and yeah, I'm so excited to talk about adamantium and mutants. Let's go! And thank you everyone for hearing me out. So, talk to you guys soon in the next episode. Bye!
Thanks for listening to the Pinoy MCU fan. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To connect with me, you can follow or message me on social media at the.pinoymcufan. The Pinoy MCU fan is part of the Bunk Collective. Discover more podcasts at thebunkph.com and follow us on social media at thebunkph. That's it, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!